When's the Warhorse 1-8, 1-10 FFP coming out? Welcome back to another Swampfox Optics video. Today we are going over some of your guys' questions that we asked for on our social medias. Let's get into it. I am just a human being. I will answer these questions as best I possibly can with the information that I have at this time. So bear with me. We put out a request for questions on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So we're gonna go through each one. No rhyme or reason, just gonna start on Facebook. All right, question number one. Will y'all ever venture into weapon-mounted lights? No. Question number two, what is the superior flavor, vanilla or chocolate? Context is required to answer that question. Any plans to follow a similar path to Vortex Optics with both budget and higher end LPVO offerings? This is a never say never moment. We have thought about it. It's something that we are constantly thinking about, but at this time we want to continue making optics that are more affordable, that still provide a ton of value. And so not in the near future, but never say never. It's something that we have thought about. Multi-reticle Kraken coming. Not for the original one. When's the Warhorse 1-8, 1-10 FFP coming out? Will it have parallax adjustment? Okay, the Warhorse one. I know this is gonna come up a couple times, so we'll just tackle it. Not anytime soon, honestly. Probably not this year, at least. This is something that we have been working on for a long time, and if we really wanted to push it out, we could, I guess, but we don't wanna put something out that we're not proud of. These take a lot of time to make and to make well. 1-10s are notorious for either being good at 10x or at 1, but there's really, it's either one or the other and not both. We've got a lot on our plate in general, and so the honest answer to that question is probably not this year. As far as the parallax adjustment, we don't know yet. If that's something that people feel really passionate about, let me know in the comments, and that's something I can pass along. We haven't really decided either way. When will we see a full power hunting scope, something for 6.5 Grendel capabilities or greater? Okay, the catch-22 of high magnification and powerful rifles. First off, what do you define as full power? We have a couple of high magnification options already, 5-25, 5-30 being the two that come to mind. We're looking at some higher ones as well. It just depends on what you define as full power. And like I said, the catch-22 of when you have a high magnification optic that you'd put on a rifle capable of reaching pretty good distances, right? 6.5 Grendel capabilities and greater, you're almost never using full magnification, because when you do, the round is gonna take you off the sight picture anyway. The recoil is gonna wiggle you a little bit, and it might be difficult to see your target when you're at 25 power, 30 power, shooting a high powered rifle like that. So depends on what you define as full power, and then figuring out where that optimal zone that you'd live in anyway is in your magnification, because you're probably not gonna sit on full power all the time. Why has Primary Arms and Swampfox both moved back to a wire reticle with fiber optics? That's a good question. I can't speak to Primary Arms, I can speak to us. It's not something that we've moved back to necessarily, and it's not new technology if that's what you're referencing. It's just giving people options. One of the biggest complaints with LPVOs is it's not bright enough, especially at 1x. And so all the fiber reticle is just a option to help alleviate people who that's their primary concern. There's a lot of reasons you buy optics. There's a lot of features people want, and everybody's a little bit different. And so the fiber is just a super, super bright option that allows a LPVO to function more like a red dot at 1 power and still super bright at max power as well, but yeah. Sentinel with top or side battery win? With the Sentinel, at least, probably never. I know the social media online rhetoric has moved to a point where bottom loading batteries are bad, but they're really not. And if you have to replace your bottom loaded battery once a year or even longer if you're getting better performance out of it, and you have to re-zero your gun, I'm not sure that's a big detriment to an optic, especially for the size and form factor you get, especially with the 2032 battery. They last a long time, and it's not gonna kill you to take it off and re-zero it. I know that everybody says, well, it needs to have top load, whatever. We might make other stuff that has top or side loading batteries on an RMSC footprint, but as far as the Sentinel goes, we like it as it is. What about a doctor cut with a really big circle reticle for fast acquisition? Probably not. Solar power? I don't think so. Okay, Facebook, done. Let's move on to YouTube. Any plans to make gear in America or at least away from the CCP? Another question that I knew we were going to get. Yes, ultimately, as a company, as a company that cares about innovating, we're always looking at new ways to do things, ways to expand our manufacturing capabilities. So yeah, in general, that's something that's always on our mind, is how can we grow? How can we figure out ways to make stuff better, make it less expensive for the end user? And so ultimately, yeah, we're thinking about where else we could make stuff and how we can expand our capabilities. The other note that I want to mention is like, we have a great team of people and we work with human beings that we love and people that we've worked with for a long time. So it's because of our team that we are where we are right now, and we're thankful for that. We do like the people we work with, but as a company that is focused on innovation, yeah, we do constantly have a conversation of what expansion looks like. Can you guys please make a reticle with 2 dots for 300 black, subs, and supers? If you want a really, really expensive optic, sure. Probably not $4,000 like that SIG one is, but you know, actual answer is probably not. The technology you'd need for that is pretty complex, and it would not fit in with what we are trying to do as a company. We're not trying to make optics that are crazy expensive. We want to make stuff that is affordable for the average person, but reliable enough to meet their needs. And so an optic like that is gonna require 2 independent LED assemblies that can be adjusted independently. And I mean, it's cool technology. It's cool that something like that exists. But in reality, probably not. Let's get on with the release of the 1-8 Warhorse. How about a video on that announcing its release? Asked and answered, ultimately, not this year. When Arrowhead 2? I don't know. I don't know if we have any plans to revamp that one quite yet. It's a great optic. We have very, very few issues with it, almost none. I think it's our least warranted optic. We're not gonna replace something that we don't think needs improvement, at least not at its current stage. When are you gonna make a magnifier and will it work with the Raider? First half of the question, I'm not really sure. I don't think we have any plans to make a magnifier. That's not what I've heard, at least. So again, what I know, the information I have at the time. Will it work with the Raider? Magnifiers do work with the Raider, which is pretty cool. We haven't done a crazy amount of testing, but I can confirm it does work. Do 1x prism red dots have eye relief? Okay, so this is short answer, yes, but long answer is 1x prism red dot is not the most accurate term. So red dots and prism optics function differently. Prism optics are etched reticles and red dots are an LED emitted dot onto a piece of glass that's reflected into your eye. And so those two terms don't really go hand in hand. I get what you're asking, so I'm not gonna like be like, you didn't say the right thing. But do prisms have eye relief? Yes, they do. Our Raider 1x microprism has about 3.5 inches of eye relief, but it is a little bit usable past that as well. So yeah, they do. What is the battery life on the Tomahawk 2? It depends on which version you have. We've got the BDC, which is a standard illumination reticle, and then we have the bright fiber optics. So it just depends on which one you have and what setting you're running it on. If you run the bright fiber on max brightness, it's not gonna last as long as the BDC on medium brightness, but it just depends on which one. Off the dome specs, you'd have to check the website. Would love to see some examples of the Raider with its reticle behind a magnifier or two. So we've got a couple things in house that we could test that with. We might make a video on that in the future. Can you guys at Swampfox do a Swampfox Trihawk versus Acog comparison? If you buy us an Acog, yes, we definitely will. Can you use a magnified prism as a magnifier for a red dot? 10 out of 10 would not recommend doing this. That's not what they're designed for, and you wouldn't be able to like flip it out of the way if you wanted to just use the red dot. I guess if you really wanted to have like 2 independently zeroable optics on one rifle, you could, but again, 10 out of 10 would not recommend doing that. Hey y'all, I know it is not something you've done yet and it is not the most popular option out there, but y'all should make a set of fixed or backup iron sights. There are some really solid options out there. Are a ton of really solid options, and we recommend going with those. We don't have any plans to make any. It's not in line necessarily with what we're trying to do as far as provide optics at a high quality and affordable price point. I would just recommend looking at the options that you have available to you. There are a ton of really good options, like you said. Any news on the progress of the Warhorse 1 to 10? If it's more than 6 months out, I will get a saber for my DMR rifle in the meantime. Get a saber for your DMR rifle in the meantime. That is all of the YouTube questions. A couple more, bear with us. We're trying to answer everybody's questions that did ask. So thank you guys for asking questions. It means a ton, engaging in conversation, and these are fun videos to make. So a couple more. All right. Instagram, last but not least, and Instagram did have the worst questions in my opinion. FFP mil LPVO, no BDC. Warhorse 1 to 6 does not have a BDC reticle. It has a mil option in its first focal plane, and when we do come out with the Warhorse 1 to 10 and 1 to 8, it will have a mil option and also be first focal plane. But again, don't wait around. We're still perfecting it, and it'll still be a while before that actually comes out. How reliable and how long will the pistol red dots hold 0? So this is a good question. This is a phenomenal question actually, and the answer is depending on how much you use it. If you never touched it, put it in the safe for the next 5 years, it would probably still hold 0 in the next 5 years. But if you went and threw it out the window of your car on the highway, it might not hold 0. And so it just depends on the torture that you put it through or the torture that you might kind of be expecting on a day-to-day basis. The Liberty and Justice 2 are awesome. Sentinel 2 as well, obviously. I'm just kind of wrapping them all in with the new ones, but they all work really good and they all stand up to a reasonable amount of torture, right? I'm not gonna tell you that they're the most durable optic because, like I said, if you threw just about any optic, with the exception maybe there are more, out of a window of a moving car on a highway, like they're all probably gonna break and potentially lose zero. So just 100% depends on what you think you are going to see in your day-to-day life. Any law enforcement agencies running your pistol optics? Yes, but I do not know how much I'm allowed to share. I don't think I'm allowed to share any names of agencies that do, but I can confirm that there are some, yes. Are you on V2 of everything because the V1s had repeated failures? I am on warranty number 3. I think this is my favorite question out of all of them. I'm sorry that you're on warranty number 3. I'm not sure what the hang up is there. If you need to reach out, you totally can. But you do have a good question, and it's a both-and. It's kind of like yes and kind of no, right? We are proud of our V1 optics. They've been around for as long as we've been around, and we stand behind those. But there's room for improvement, like there is with everything. And so, are we on V2 because of the V1's repeated failures? Not necessarily, but we did see room for improvement in the V1s, which is why we've opted to go to V2s and say, you know what, like we like these, they're good, but they could be better. And so we're gonna do that. We're gonna make better, and we want that to benefit ultimately you guys as the consumers. Haven't bought my first pistol optic yet. I have an astigmatism. Should I go with the green Liberty 2? I don't know your eyes. Everybody's eyes are different. Everybody's astigmatism is a little different. Green for me personally is way worse than red. What I would recommend though is go to your local gun store, go ask to see a couple of options, and before you do make a purchase, which we'd love if you picked up a Liberty 2 of any variety, go in and see what reticles from what companies look the best for you. I don't want to tell you to buy something if I am not 100% confident it's going to be a good fit. So go to a gun store, look at a couple of options, figure out what dot style, green, red, 2 MOA, 6 MOA, whatever looks best for you, and then pick the one that looks best for you. Any piggyback mount options for scopes and dots? Potentially. That's something that we have thrown around a ton in the last couple months. We have talked about it, got a couple of things in the background that we are debating, but maybe not. Don't quote me. There's nothing currently in development. When's the rest of the optics on that list from last year coming out? There wasn't a list last year. We didn't have a published list of like what we were anticipating releasing. We came out with 4 new optics last year, and those were the ones that we anticipated coming out with. On a broader scale, we are constantly working on anywhere between like 10 and 20 different projects on the back end. Stuff that you guys may see at some point, may never see if we never figure it out. We're constantly looking at new options and new things. And just because we don't talk about them doesn't mean that we're not working on them. When we are talking about stuff, it's stuff that we have more confidence about, stuff that we're more excited about. Yeah, there's just always things going on in the background, and some of the stuff just never makes it far enough to get released or get to the point where we talk about it. But we want to make this stuff good. We don't want to push it out just for the sake of pushing it out. We are holding back on certain things because it's just not right yet, and we want to get it right before we come out with it. That's all the questions, guys. Thanks so much for participating in our little Q&A here. We had a great time answering everybody's questions, going through all the questions. We're going to do this again, so think about other questions that you might want to ask. We'll put up new Q&A options, but if there is something immediately that you're like, okay, in the next video, answer this question, put it in the comments below of this video. I will reference this video the next time we do one of these. Thank you for participating. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, or leave a mean comment if you don't like me, and that's fine. Okay, see you in the next video.